Hi, I'm Sebastian Gomes, host of Salt and Light's original series, Subject Matters, and here's my take on David Gibson and Michael McKinley's book, Finding Jesus: Faith, Fact, Forgery. The book examines 6 holy objects that some people think can be traced back to Jesus, things like the Shroud of Turin or the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. Fascinating objects and fascinating modern stories, archaeological stories about how they were found, about how they were bought and sold, sometimes stolen. The book is highly accessible and it reads like a detective story. Couldn't put it down. Now, David makes a really important and I think necessary leap when he's examining these 6 objects. He goes from studying them specifically from a scientific perspective to say, okay, that's fine, we can't know everything necessarily, but what does this actually tell us about the person or the object involved? So, for example, we don't know if the bones of John the Baptist really showed up on a small island off the coast of Bulgaria, but what does that archaeological find tell us about who the person of John the Baptist was and his relationship to Jesus? Very, very important. And as a part of that leap, David does something else that I think is really, really important and makes this great scholarship, and that is he uses as his primary authoritative historical sources the 4 canonical Gospels. Those are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. A lot of people doing historical analysis actually dismiss them because they think that they're filled with faith, they're filled with theology, and they're not reliable for that reason. David does, in my opinion, what is the correct historical approach here. He uses those 4 texts because they are actually the earliest and therefore the most authoritative stories that we have about Jesus. So even though there is theology there mixed in there with them, there's also really solid historical evidence about the early Christians, about who Jesus was. And that's what he's really trying to get to in this book, Finding Jesus. Again, wonderful book, highly accessible, highly recommendable.